story time, and this is when Rob and you guys can really take it away here, but how we kind of started to do business together, because it was through the 1031 exchange model, and not every syndicator is accommodating of the 1031 exchange tick structure. And I believe, if I have the story straight, which I'm sure you're going to set the record here for all the audience, of course, but of course you, I think, called Rob saying, hey, I had a problem, we need to identify a property and buy one, so let you guys tell your versions of the story here for our audience to rehash that in this forum, which will live on forever. So I'd be very curious to hear that story, the inception of it, what that looked like on both of your perspectives, and also some of the turbulence that came up and maybe a couple other ones as the market shifted and whatnot from a debt perspective in 2022.
Well, yeah, so going back from the very beginning, this has got to be 5 years ago now. I think your son Phil was at a networking event, and I was talking about underwriting, so I was on stage sharing a hypothetical deal, and I think we might have exchanged cards, but I don't think there was really a lot of conversation. And then we must have just kept in touch a little bit here and there, and I think 2-3 years later, maybe 2 years later, I remember you called me and you said, the emails that you send, the things you put out online are interesting. You've piqued my interest finally. And I'm going to ask you this series of questions. I'm going to do my homework on you. Can you please provide us information? I said, sure, no problem. We provide the information. You said, okay, great. I'm going to test you out. And I think the test was $50,000. And you said, okay, yes, we are grateful for that test. We very much look forward to building the relationship. I hang up the phone and go, awesome, we have a new investor, $50,000. And then I think a week later, you call me again and you say, so I have a problem. That $50,000 investment that I'm making with you, I need it to be $6 million.
That escalated quickly, as they say.
It did. And why was that? Why did it go from $50,000 to $6 million? It was, of course, because of a 1031 exchange.
Right. So I had a sale coming through, and I had a short window to do it. I had been involved with a number of other sponsors. I didn't have a property available. I had a short window. And I remember when I came to see you, first of all, it went from $50,000 to almost $6 million. That's true. But during that time, is that I did do a lot of due diligence on you. And even though that you were relatively new, you talked about earlier about a good name. You had a good name in the industry, even though it was a new name. And I spoke to lenders, and I spoke to investors, and I spoke to other people, and by speaking to them, I could hear their voice, because if you email people, you can't hear their voice. So I wanted to know if they were telling me the truth, and I do get a sense that they were telling me the truth, and I felt very comfortable with you. And I remember saying to you, are you hard on that deal? Do you have it? Okay, because my window is closing, and you said yes, and we were able to get that deal done.